Well, welcome to my channel, Mispronounced Adventures. My name's Alex, and this channel seems to be mostly about overlanding in the Arctic in my van and electrical projects. Because they're plugged in, these are due to vibration. Overlanding in the Nordic Arctic in my van is expensive, so I spend the summer months doing collaborations to fund it. And that's what this video is. So this video is working with Anker and the Anker SOLIX C1000. Now, before you all run away, going a power station video, about 10 years now in my normal job where I work and lead expeditions all over the globe. I'm currently in the jungles of Borneo working.
You don't use it.
Anker, I've been using their products, working from their smaller power banks to their cables, earphones, and even their miniature solar panels. But of recent, with the YouTube channel and them starting to create power stations, they got in contact, and I've been lucky enough to work with their larger unit, the Anker SOLIX F2000, which I strapped to the back of a different bike and rode around with. And this time, I'm working with the Anker SOLIX C1000. I've got quite a lot of experience now working with power stations on this channel, and I keep doing stupid things, from using one of them to power an electric outboard and dressing as a pirate, getting drunk and harassing people in Ullswater and Lake District, Yarr! To more recently, I've been playing around with e-biking and power stations for electric camping. I just think this is brilliant. I've done a few different silly adventures, from some trips on this bike in Scotland to riding an inappropriate folding commuter e-bike on a long distance cycle track. Getting there though. And using power stations to keep the batteries charged whilst on the move. If you want to see any of that sort of mad shenanigans, please do consider subscribing and checking out the other videos on the channel. But onto the power station. So I'm not going to give you a review of the power station. I've not had it long enough to give you a concrete review. I'm going to look at the specs, what the unit does, and just generally my initial thoughts on it. So let's go from there. Well, first off, build quality. Anker are definitely coming out top of one of the top power station companies. I've reviewed quite a few different power stations in the past. You can see the difference in quality. Some of them I found the plastics quite flimsy, and I've not even made review videos because of that. These, on the other hand, good, well-made units, which I'm pretty happy with. It generally just feels like a high-quality unit. You've got meta-filling buttons. They feel really nice to use. Good solid port covers on the 12-volt socket and the battery expansion pack. Overall, well-made unit. It just feels sturdy, and it also comes well packaged, and the accessories that come in the box are pretty good as well. Next up, the actual layout of the unit. First off, nice strong unibody design, 2 handles. It's not the lightest, it's about 12 and a bit kilos, which is around average for a 1000 watt hour. It's actually 1056 watt hour, but it's actually a little bit smaller physically than some of my other 1000 watt hour power stations. Everything you kind of want on the front. These lights I actually find are really quite useful. I used to think they're quite gimmicky. 12 volt DC out, access to the inverter, USB port screen, and the button to activate it. On the side, you've got your main AC in for charging, your DC in for DC charging or solar charging, and on the other end you've got the expansion port for the battery. And if I'm honest, one of my favourite features is a nice boxy shape of a flat top. Makes storing the units and building them into camper vans and just storage places a lot easier. Right, well, specs. Well, the bit you can actually read online, but I might as well bring up the specs anyway in the video I'm making about a particular power station. So, 1056 watt hour using LiPo4 chemistry, which means they say you've got a 10-year lifespan and a 5-year warranty. Lithium or LiPo4 chemistry particularly, you can see people say 3,000 cycles, 4,000, 15,000 cycles. Realistically, the cycle length of a unit depends how much you discharge it. If you do 0 to 100% discharge every day, you're going to wear the unit out. It's still going to last many, many years, but a lot quicker than if you're doing 30% every day. Also, being LiPo4 means you can't charge it when it's below 0. Right, well, what can a power station actually power? So, car socket, use it for a variety of things. Today I was using it to blow up the tyres of the bike. Or, the only thing I've got at the minute for filming is another power station. Onto the ports, we've got a 100 watt USB-C port, so I can charge my MacBook Pro. Second USB-C port is a 30 watt one, so I can charge my iPhone. And then you've got two normal USB-A ports as well. So I can charge my DJI mics, which I use for the videos, and my iPad as well. I could charge my Anker earphones with an Anker brand cable. You're welcome, Anker, that reference is free of charge. And next, the inverter. Easy enough to run an induction stove. And whilst we're talking about inverters, the specs of this one are frankly ridiculous. Most power stations, if they're a 1000 watt hour, usually have an inverter maximum output about the same, so about 1000 watt. 700 watt hour, around 700 watts. In this case, with the Anker SOLIX C1000, that is an 800 watt induction stove. Normally, that would be towards the max of a power station like this. However, the Anker SOLIX C1000 has an 1800 watt inverter, almost double. So you could run a dual induction stove. On top of that, it's got its surge pad mode, which means you can actually power devices up to 2400 watt. Reality of where that actually comes in is, say you have a 2000 watt heat gun, and that normally is a 1800 watt inverter. If you try to run that off that, you're going to overload the inverter, it's going to shut down. However, with surge pad, it means you can run devices up to about 2400 watt. It effectively limits the output of the inverter. So this 2000 watt heat gun is running only at 1840 watts. This is still only getting fed 1800 watts, but it means you can still use the device. Quite a smart little bit of kit. Well, I've shown you how you can discharge it really quickly. Now, let's talk about charging it. You've got your standard DC, so I can plug it into the dashboard in my van, be that 12 volt like my van, or 24 volt, or the same XT60 connector can also act as a solar port. And this can charge at a maximum of 600 watts of solar, which is actually more than on the roof of my van. However, you can use some of Anker's own solar panels or third-party solar panels as well. You just have to be a little bit particular on the voltage. This particular unit, you can charge up to a maximum of 600 watt. If your solar panel's voltage is from 11 to 32 volts, then it can only charge at a maximum of 10 amps input-wise. If you've got a 32 volt to 60 volt solar panel or configuration of solar panels, then you can charge up to 12.5 amp. You just would be limited a little bit on some lower voltage solar panels. The more interesting bit and how a lot of people charge these units is via the AC. And this has got your AC fast charging as normal. You can charge up to 1000 watts normally, or lower that via the app. But on the app, it gives you access to another little special feature. You can change it from its normal 1000 watt charging to ultra fast, which means it can charge up to 1300 watts, which means from 0% to 100% in 58 minutes, which is the fastest charging for a power bank of this size on the market. And whilst we're in the app, you can do a variety of other normal things, from changing the lights, screen brightness, and turning on and off the AC output and the DC port. However, probably my favourite feature for when in the app is the ability to set an auto turn off for the inverter. So if I'm running something, I could leave it on for 2 hours and then have the unit automatically shut the inverter down. On top of that, you can do all your usual things, changing settings. You can also connect it via Bluetooth or via Wi-Fi. You could participate in the Anker SOLIX C1000 pre-sale and potentially get yourself £250 off this new release. Or you get an opportunity to win an Anker SP30 solar panel, the MagGo, or even the Anker EverFrost 40, and all sales before November 6th. Check the link in the description for more information about that. Well, if you've got this far, thank you very much. I know everyone doesn't like power station videos, but I like making videos about my travels and particularly adventures in the Arctic. And I need to fund those. So collaborations and working with brands is what means I can make that quite expensive content. And if you've watched any of my Arctic series and any of my other videos, you kind of notice that I do use power stations quite a lot. For me, they are an important part, an integral part of my Arctic trip and my safety equipment. I like to have a full electrical system, which is what a power station is. Whilst I have a huge electrical system in my van, having a backup system is fantastic, and I use these a lot. I use them for running the laptops, charging stuff, or being mobile and portable, which is where I think these are great. So thank you again if you're still watching here. And this one, to be honest, I generally keep my favourite units, and this has immediately gone up to my favourite unit compared to other ones I've got. It's one of the smaller ones, but also one of the most powerful ones with the fastest charging and higher output inverter. This has actually got a bigger inverter than my van has. So If you want to check out some of the other shenanigans of my Powerstation videos, or the ridiculous things which collaborations and working with brands helps fund, like the Arctic, please do consider subscribing, leaving a comment on the video and liking. If you are interested in these, do check out the links in the description. Supporting those links does support the channel. So thank you very much for watching. Cheers. Bye.